Right, let's have a look at question 3.2. So we worked, it says, without being required to, so we got the guy, remember he borrowed 1,200,000 rand. Okay, they say in this question, we must assume, in case you got it wrong, from 3.1, which had a decimal, that's what we often do. Assume your repayments are 8,764. But now it says, Alvicus at T170, just after his 115th payment. So at T115, okay, he withdraws, in other words, he borrows back from the bank a further 17,000 rand immediately after that payment. Okay, so he pays back that 8,000 and then borrows 17,000 rand at that point. And they want to know, calculate the balance outstanding on his loan at T128. Okay, so balance outstanding immediately after this payment of 8,764. Okay, what does he owe at this point over here? So I always use, I know you can use present value, but I always use this logic that a balance outstanding equals amount borrowed with interest, minus amount paid back with interest. Okay. All right, that's the principle I'm going to use. And the key thing is you always work to the same point on your timeline. So this is a key point that we're working to. Okay, so your balance outstanding is going to be equal to, well, what is the amount borrowed with interest? Okay, the amount borrowed with interest is what we borrowed in blue. What did he borrow? He borrowed, first of all, 1,200,000 rand. So we've got to take each amount to that point on the timeline. So what he borrowed with interest is 1, and here, so with this, I'm always just going to be using A is equal to P1 plus I to the n, because it's not an annuity, it's a single lump sum. Okay, so your balance outstanding is amount borrowed with interest. Okay, so I'm using A is equal to P1 plus I to the n, where P is equal to 1,200,000. Okay, the interest rate that you are charged is 6.24% over 12. So that's 1 plus I, so 1 plus 6.24% over 12. Now, to get from there to there, okay, n in this formula is time. You've gone from T0 to T1 to 8. So you're going to go up to T1 to 8. So it's going to be to the power of 1 to 8. Okay? So that is that amount over there. That's your first borrowed interest. But he didn't just borrow that. He also later on went and borrowed this 17,000 rand. So I've also got to apply, everything's got to move to the same point in the timeline. That's key with finance, okay? So the second amount borrowed with interest, so plus, okay, because he owes this amount of money, okay, he's also going to go, and I'm using this formula again, A is equal to P1 plus I to the n. So now it's 17,000. Everything here is in months, eh, guys? That's why that's 6.24% over 12, 128 months at the same time unit. So 17,000, that's P, 1 plus 6.24% over 12. Okay, right? And how many months interest does this collect? Well, it goes from T115 to T1 to 8, which is 13 months interest over there. Okay, so this is all those two things of what he's borrowed with interest. And I've moved him to the same point in the timeline. So if he had paid nothing back, that is what he owed the bank. But he has paid stuff back. Okay, he's paid back an amount of 8,764 and all of these 8,764s have collected interest. Okay, so that one we're not going to take all 128 payments. Okay, we're not going to take all 128 payments to the end of the timeline because it's an annuity. So here, for the amount paid back with interest, we're normally going to be using, we're always just about going to be using this formula. F is equal to X, bracket, bracket, 1 plus I to the n minus 1 all over I. Okay. So in this case, so we're minusing what he's paid back. The monthly payments, I said we must use are 8,764, so that's X. Okay, bracket, bracket, 1 plus I is 6.24% over 12, so that's I. N is your number of payments. Well, you've made from 1 to 128, so that's 128 payments, minus 1, okay, all over I, and I is equal to 6.24% over 12. Right. Double checking my working. Yep. Okay. So that is what you pay back with interest. So the key thing is moving everything to the same point in your timeline of finance. And you end up with the balance outstanding. Okay. If you put that into your calculator, remember, if you're running out of time, just don't put your final answer. Okay. Calculator work takes often the longest amount of time, and it's not really justifiable with the marks. So you get a balance outstanding 760,805 Rand and 40 cents. Okay. That is question 3.2.